Welcome back to our summer NFL mini-series, Learning the U.S. Through Football. Last week, we visited the NFC East, where we discovered how football reflects the identities of cities like Philadelphia, New York, Washington, and Dallas. This week, we're traveling to the AFC East. If the NFC East is known for its famous rivalries and larger-than-life personalities, the AFC East is a division of contrasts. Imagine standing in Buffalo, New York, in the middle of winter. Snow is falling, the wind is blowing, and thousands of fans are cheering in freezing temperatures. Now imagine boarding a plane and flying about 3 hours south to Miami, Florida. Suddenly, the snow has disappeared, palm trees line the streets, the sun is shining, and football fans arrive wearing sunglasses instead of winter coats. It's hard to believe these cities belong to the same football division. Yet that's exactly what makes the AFC East so interesting. Today we'll travel from the snowy shores of Lake Erie to the warm beaches of South Florida, discovering how geography, history, and local culture have shaped 4 unique NFL franchises. Let's begin in the far north. Our first stop is Buffalo, New York. When many people hear the words New York, they immediately think of New York City. But Buffalo couldn't feel more different. Located near the Canadian border on the shores of Lake Erie, Buffalo is famous for one thing every winter: snow. In fact, the city experiences something called lake effect snow. Cold air moves across the warmer waters of the Great Lakes, collects moisture, and then drops enormous amounts of snow when it reaches land. And when I say snow, I mean snowflakes that can be as big as your face. Sometimes football games are played right in the middle of these snowstorms. Before we continue, let me remind you of a useful English expression I mentioned last time when we talked about Philadelphia. You will also hear Buffalo described as a blue-collar city. Again, blue-collar usually refers to people who work in skilled trades. Today, it also describes communities that value hard work, resilience, and practicality. That spirit perfectly matches the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are one of the NFL's most beloved teams, despite never winning a Super Bowl. In the early 1990s, they reached an incredible 4 consecutive Super Bowls. No team had ever done that before, and no team has done it since. Unfortunately for Buffalo fans, they lost all 4. It's one of the greatest examples of both excellence and heartbreak in sports. Yet Bills fans never stopped believing. Today, they're known as Bills Mafia, and they're one of the NFL's most passionate fan bases. They're famous for energetic tailgate parties before games, but they're also known for something many people don't expect: generosity. Over the years, Bills fans have raised millions of dollars for charities, often in honor of players or members of the football community. One of my favorite stories about the Bills has very little to do with football in reality. In both 2014 and 2022, severe snowstorms made it impossible for Buffalo to host home games. So those games were moved to Detroit's Ford Field. Now, if you remember, Detroit is my favorite team. Instead of treating the Bills as visitors, Detroit Lions fans welcomed them with open arms. They packed the stadium and cheered for Buffalo just like it was their own team. Since then, many supporters from both teams have jokingly called themselves the Lake Erie Bros, a reminder that sports can create friendships just as easily as rivalries. After these games, As a thank you to the community, Bills Mafia donated money to Detroit charities. Now let's leave the snow behind. Our next stop is Miami, Florida. The contrast couldn't be greater. Far north, far south, snow, warmth and humidity. Instead of freezing temperatures, Miami offers sunshine, beaches, and one of the most multicultural cities in the United States. People from Cuba, Haiti, and many countries across Latin America and the Caribbean have helped shape Miami's culture, food, music, and languages. That international influence gives the city a unique atmosphere, unlike almost anywhere else in the country. The Miami Dolphins entered the league in 1966 and quickly became one of football's greatest success stories. Their biggest achievement came in 1972. That season, the Dolphins won every regular season game, every playoff game, and the Super Bowl. Even today, they remain one of the few teams in NFL history to complete a perfect season. Think about that for a moment. Almost every other Super Bowl champion has lost at least one game. The 1972 Dolphins never did. The team was coached by the legendary Don Shula and later featured one of football's greatest quarterbacks, Dan Marino. Although Marino never won a Super Bowl, many fans still consider him one of the best quarterbacks ever to play the game. Now let's travel north again to New England. Here's another interesting geography lesson. New England isn't a city. It's a region made up of 6 northeastern states, including Massachusetts, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. It's also one of the oldest parts of the United States and the birthplace of many events leading to the American Revolution. The New England Patriots represent this entire region, though they play in Massachusetts. For much of their history, they were simply another NFL team. Then in 2001, everything changed. Quarterback Tom Brady and head coach Bill Belichick began one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. Over the next 2 decades, the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls and appeared in countless playoff games. For many younger fans, it almost seemed normal to see New England competing for another championship every year. Of course, that incredible success also brought controversy. During the Brady-Belichick era, the Patriots were involved in league investigations that became known as Spygate and Deflategate. Supporters believe these incidents shouldn't overshadow nearly 20 years of remarkable football. Critics argue they became part of the team's legacy. Whatever your opinion, the Patriots changed the NFL forever. Our final stop is back to the New York City metropolitan area. Like the Giants that we talked about last week, the New York Jets actually play their home games across the state line in New Jersey. But they represent one of the largest metropolitan regions in the world. The Jets' greatest moment came in 1969 when quarterback Joe Namath confidently guaranteed that his team would win Super Bowl III. Many people thought he was being foolish. You can't guarantee a win. Instead, the Jets pulled off one of the greatest upsets in sports history. That victory helped prove that the old American Football League could compete with the NFL before the 2 leagues officially merged. Since then, Jets fans have experienced more disappointment than championships. Yet every new season brings fresh hope. Perhaps that's one reason football fans admire each other so much. Supporting a team isn't just about celebrating victories. Sometimes it's about believing that next year could finally be your year. The AFC East has also produced some unforgettable rivalries. The Patriots and Jets have battled for decades. The Bills and Dolphins have created a classic contrast between snow and sunshine. And for nearly 20 years, every team in the division measured itself against the Patriots dynasty. Today, the balance of power has changed again. The Bills have become one of the AFC's strongest teams, led by quarterback Josh Allen. The Dolphins continue to excite fans with one of the league's fastest offenses. The Patriots are beginning a new chapter after Brady and Belichick. And Jets fans, as always, believe better days are just around the corner. The AFC East reminds us that football is shaped by much more than what happens on the field. It's shaped by weather, by geography, by history, and most importantly, by the communities that support their teams through every victory and every disappointment. From blizzards in Buffalo to sunshine in Miami, every stop tells a different story about life in the United States. And that's what makes this division so memorable. Before we finish, here's one more useful English word. The word legacy refers to the lasting impact that a person, team, or event leaves behind. When people talk about the legacy of the 1972 Dolphins, the legacy of Tom Brady, or the legacy of the Bills Mafia, they're talking about how those people or teams will be remembered in the future. The AFC East has given football fans unforgettable moments for more than 60 years. It has shown us that success can come in many forms. Sometimes it's winning championships, sometimes it's setting records, and sometimes it's simply remaining loyal through decades of hope, disappointment, and new beginnings. Now I'm curious, if you could attend one AFC East game, which would you choose? Would you brave a snowy game in Buffalo, experience the history of New England, cheer alongside the passionate Jets fans near New York City, or enjoy football under the Miami sunshine? Let me know. Thank you for listening to the Sharing English podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider following the podcast, leaving a review, and sharing it with friends. Your support helps more English learners and curious listeners from around the world discover the show. Until next time, keep learning and keep sharing English. Bye.